RoboVoices. This is Miss Wong, and I am here with one of our seniors, Judy. Judy, welcome.
Hi, thank you for having me.
So Judy is here, and before we get started on our podcast to talk about field trips here at Robinson, I thought it would be nice for us to get to know Judy. So once again, I have just some rapid fire questions that I'm going to ask Judy, and we'll get to know her real quick. So ready to go, Judy?
Yes.
Okay, here we go. Favorite food?
I'd have to say lasagna.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
How about favorite school subject?
Oh, English.
Ooh,
Yeah.
Very nice.
I love English.
Oh, so what about favorite activity of choice when you have free time?
Definitely photography.
Ooh,
Yeah,
very
I do it
nice.
a lot.
I love it. And favorite candy?
Almond Joys.
Oh my gosh,
Very
that's one
good.
of my favorites.
Yeah.
Coconut.
I love coconut.
Oh, and the last question, where do you see yourself in 10 years?
Okay, so I guess in 10 years, maybe I'd be an architect working at a firm with other architects. I don't know, it's kind of my dream, something I've wanted to do for a long time. So maybe kind of independent on my own, successful in my job, good friends.
I love
it.
it. I love it. One of the
Yeah.
things that is so great about our Robinson community is we are goal oriented. We
Of
have,
course.
big dreams, and I think it's wonderful. And that is so great to hear.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So, Judy, you are here today to talk about field trips. You had mentioned that you felt that field trips in core classes is really important to enhance the learning experience.
Yeah, I do.
So tell me, what are your thoughts?
So, okay, I remember in 8th grade, I went on a lot of field trips. One of my favorites that really stuck out to me was it was a courtroom tour. So I went with other students in my civics class and we toured the Fairfax, I think, courthouse, and it was so much fun. And it kind of gave me a really new perspective of civics. Civics. And I got a lot out of it. I feel like the importance of field trips to me is not just, leaving the classroom, but getting a learning experience that I will never get like within just a classroom setting, because I'm a visual learner and I love learning through experience. So when I got to visit the courthouse, I didn't only get to look at the inside of the building, but I got to sit in with my class on an actual case that was happening live. And it was just so cool because these were the kinds of things that I would hear about in class. We would talk about it, but when you see it happen, it's just a completely different experience. So that really stuck with me, and I'd love to do that in the future.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Because we talk about, experiencing real life. When you're in the classroom, your teachers are able to talk through some different things that happen. But when you actually experience it firsthand, it can really hit you in such a way
Yes.
that it sticks with you and it
For sure.
becomes more meaningful that way. So that's amazing that happened in 8th grade, right?
Yeah, and it stuck with me. I still remember it.
And here you are, right? So you've been in high school for 4 years now. Have you had many school field trips? I know that we were stuck in some pandemic
Yeah.
times and that made it really difficult, but have
Oh,
you
I
had
know.
any other opportunities to go on field trips?
As far as I can remember, not really. I know that COVID has played a role in kind of slowing
Yes.
things down,
Yes.
but I don't know. So far, no, I don't remember anything happening.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
But it's really one of those things that you're hoping that teachers might be hearing this
Yeah.
podcast and go, gosh, how great it would be to provide these opportunities, right?
Yeah.
Now, I know that there are some students who don't want to go on field trips because oftentimes some field trips, pull them away from their other classes, right? So what
Right,
would you
yeah.
say to them to encourage them?
Okay, so I understand, especially as you get older in your classes, there's a lot more work to do, and it's hard to miss class because maybe you're missing a study, a time where the class is studying. And I would say, honestly, if it's a class that you're passionate about, then I think it's worth it because it's like a one-day experience. Maybe you can even come back in time to go to your other classes. That was the case for me. When I went on the courthouse field trip, I missed the first 3 periods, but I was back in time for the last one. So I don't know. I would definitely encourage students to take the chance because you never know when you'll be able to do it again. And yeah.
Yeah, and those opportunities don't happen often, right?
They don't, yeah.
And most of the time they would be missing one day, right, of those classes, but hopefully they would be able to make it up and the teachers would be understanding
course.
for, whatever work they missed, right?
Yeah. Oh, and one other thing I just remembered. So for this field trip in particular, not all civics students went. What they did was they had a sign-up sheet, and they said any students who express interest and, have good grades, they have good standing in the class, they can sign up, and then the teacher will decide if they're able to go or not. So I thought that was perfect, so that the students who didn't want to go had the option to not apply or not sign up for it, while the students who were really interested got the chance to do that. And I was one of those students. So it's kind of balanced.
Absolutely. So that was an opportunity where the students did have the option, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely. I remember I used to teach AP biology,
Wow.
and I took my students camping.
Wow.
We
Oh my
literally
gosh.
went, and it was a field trip with the Chesapeake Bay Foundation, and it was
That's
an
amazing.
ecosystems field trip, and it was an overnighter, and
Wow.
the students learned all about the ecosystem in the Chesapeake Bay. So it was very much tied to the curriculum, but once again, it was real life experience instead of me just talking about ecosystems in the classroom.
Yeah.
It was firsthand. They got in the water. They got to hear about conservation strategies and so forth, and about the bay. And it was wonderful. And you're absolutely right. To this day, I still have students who reach out and talk to me about how wonderful those field trips were. And it really does stick with them.
It
It's
does,
not
100%.
right. And it's about having those unique experiences, right? And I think when I think about who's listening to this podcast, field trips take a lot of planning sometimes,
do,
right? And sometimes it doesn't have to be a major field trip that requires a lot of planning. Maybe you can have a guest speaker, right? Someone who can come in. If you can't get to the courthouse, maybe have lawyers come to the classroom and talk, because I think we always talk about real life experiences. Students often ask, why am I learning this, right? But when they actually get to experience things for real, like things that are actually happening in society that they can apply, it does become more meaningful in that regard.
Of course.
Yeah. What other thoughts do you have regarding field trips?
So something else that I think is really important about field trips are, I guess it gives you the chance to kind of open your mind and explore new career options, because I feel like in our classes we learn all kinds of things that prepare us for our futures, but then field trips kind of take you to the next level. You get to experience it firsthand and maybe get an idea of, oh, this is something I want to do in my life, because learning about it in class is great, but you don't know what it's like until you see it. And that's especially true for a career. Like, aside from just studying something that you're interested in, if you're interested in pursuing it for the rest of your life, I think it's very important that you get some kind of experience with what you're interested in. So if we did it, especially in core classes, I think that would open many doors for many students.
Absolutely, because you never know what's connected to that. You could go to the courthouse
Exactly.
and see all of these different professionals doing all of these different things that you wouldn't experience just sitting in your classroom and learning about it. So it really does open your eyes to what's out there in the future for our students. And it's hard. It's not like we want you to decide right now, Judy, what you want in your life, but it helps you kind of set some goals, right? And push yourself, because what we do here at Robinson is to prepare you for what is to come after Robinson, and that's so important to us as educators and to your families, but you're living day to day here at Robinson. But like you said, when you're removed from the classroom and you go to actual places and experience things, it really does hopefully trigger some different things in your brain, right? To think about other things.
Yeah, and hopefully also kids get more interested in what they're learning about, because I don't know, I never loved civics, but after that field trip, I liked it a little more, I won't lie. It was a very fun field trip, and I came out of it I just had such a good time, and so I came back to that class feeling a lot more positive. It really was an amazing experience. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's wonderful. And I will tell you that as an administrator, I certainly will do my best to support my teachers if they want to take students on a field trip, you know, because I think it's wonderful for these students to have opportunities.
Of course, I always wondered why they weren't so, like, I don't know, encouraged as much, or it didn't happen. But
You know, I will say that when I think about core classes, you were talking specifically about core classes, there's a lot of curricula that has to be taught in the classroom. So I think a lot of the teachers feel the need to, you know, teach the curriculum. And sometimes when you talk about field trips, where you're removing the student from that setting, but if you think about it, that field trip can enhance the learning in
agree,
so many ways.
100%.
So I think this is a good reminder to some teachers who might be listening to say, those who already do field trips who go, I'm affirmed. I'm so glad to hear that there's at least one student who really does appreciate it, and there are many more who do, you know, but to also encourage the teachers who may not have tried to schedule a field trip to try to figure something out to allow their students to experience some things. That is wonderful. Any other thoughts you have, Judy?
That's all. I guess it would be really cool to see it happen in the future. I know I'm leaving soon in June, but I don't know. I kind of want to be a voice for like the younger students, kind of give them a reason to like look forward to field trips, or maybe think about how it could help them.
Absolutely. And maybe even offer ideas to their teachers.
Yes, that's amazing.
Right?
I think students should definitely, like, they have a voice. Sometimes they don't realize it. Like, it is a big school, and sometimes your voice may not be heard by everyone. But I don't know, as if we all collectively start talking about it a little more, maybe, you know, it could happen.
Absolutely. And what I think is really powerful, Judy, is as a senior, it's January. You have a few more months. I'm sure you're excited about what's to come, but the fact that you wanted to join me on this podcast, you know, that means something to me, because you care about Robinson, not just for the remaining time you have, but for the future of Robinson. And that really is powerful and means a lot to me as an administrator here. So I loved having this opportunity to speak with you.
Me
so
too.
Thank you so much,
Of
Judy.
course. Thank you for having me.
Oh my gosh. And I wish you the best of luck. And if architecture is definitely in your future, I can't wait to see what you do.
Thank you.
All right.
I'm excited.
Thank you, Judy.